Hi there, Aries. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for October, which can be hugely exciting as far as relationships are concerned, but it also may crystallize in some ties who really is in charge. And of course, relationships work best when we can be cooperative. But the reason for this is that there is a wonderful alliance between the new moon on the first of the month and Jupiter, newly arrived in your sector of relating and partnerships, where he's going to be for the next year. But at the same time, Jupiter is squaring up with your ruling planet Mars for the first 2 weeks. This can give you a tremendous sense of enthusiasm, and with Mars in the most prominent part of your scope, quite a lot of authority. So when it comes to relationships, you may find yourself wanting to take the lead just that much more. Now, in a long-standing relationship, this could lead to a shift in terms of who wants their way a little bit, whereas in a professional environment, it could see you reaching out to others, particularly in positions of influence, and putting across your points in a very persuasive way indeed. But what you can't do this month is basically try too hard. Mars, your ruling planet, is going to be hugely influential all of October. Now, in week 3, Mars is going to go alongside tiny Pluto. These are the two rulers of Scorpio, the most passionate zodiac sign. So when you put them together in the most prominent part of your horoscope, don't be surprised if your passions are aroused when it comes to your worldly role, your work, or how much you get your own way, because that's what Mars can be about, especially in an alliance with Pluto. But you are given an opportunity on the 7th of this month when Mercury moves from a very precise area where it's gone through the retrograde in the sign of Virgo into the more diplomatic sign of Libra. Here, of course, it's joining up with Jupiter, but initially you're going to find that you can perhaps listen more carefully, more attentively to what other people say, as long as you're patient enough to do so, because the full moon, which occurs at the heart of this month, the middle of this month, is in your sign, but it's also conjoining with Uranus, the planet of freedom, which has really been shaking up your world over the last 5 years, giving you a much greater desire to find your voice, be the authentic person you really want to be, to travel more, to be more free from constraints. But of course, Uranus was in quite an argument with Pluto for the best part of 3 years, and that only ended earlier this year. So just be conscious that that kind of energy can come to the fore again. It's about you wanting to be true to yourself, but there are structures that you're going to be expected to fit into, and if you try to remake them only in your image, then you could find that you're going to meet quite a lot of resistance by someone else. You could feel a bit threatened by your desire to have more of a say or to do things your own way. So the full moon, which occurs at the heart of this month, I think really is going to be a make or break point for certain relationships, especially where you're absolutely determined that you are going to be more willful to get your own way. So diplomacy and discretion can come from Jupiter and Mercury, and of course the Sun, but at the end of the day, I do feel there's going to be a latent desire laced right through this month. And that's underlined once the Sun and Mercury move into the sign of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is very deep, it's searching, and although Mercury in this sector can be brilliant for business, it can also be a time of ends and beginnings. So if there is a relationship where you feel you've just got to have your voice, you've got to be free to be who you really are, it may be a time that's going to come to a close. But it could be with your employer as an organisation as much as with any kind of individual. Now, when it comes to searching out the truth of your relationships, Venus is going to help you hugely in the last 10 or 15 days of this month, because it moves into your sister fire sign of Sagittarius. Here, its instinct is for you to be free, but at the same time be real, and that's going to be a helpful one for you. But in the last week of this month, your ruler Mars is then clashing with Uranus, and this again is quite an explosive mix, particularly if you don't want to be told what to do. You're a free spirit who wants to make your own mould in terms of how you're going to live your life. So this can be a month generally when it's quite dramatic about you needing to have your voice heard. You need to demonstrate your talents and your skills in the wider world, and you can find that your confidence can be raised. But if you push too hard, there may be certain ties or associations that get affected because someone may feel that you're being too forceful, too bombastic, too pedantic, and not seeing their point of view enough. So try to let the Libran stuff that is there with both initially obviously Jupiter and the Sun, but then when the Sun and Mercury move on, Jupiter stays there. Try to continue to hold that the best you can. And I think the best advice for this month for you is please don't try too hard, but do be very determined. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.